students, this is Dr. Deeptesh Patel, and in this session I am going to cover lecture 2 of engine design and operating parameters of advanced internal combustion engine. So today in this lecture we are going to see the different energy performance parameters of the IC engine, and those parameters are very important, especially to calculate the overall output which can be obtained from the engine. And these are the basic parameters that should need to be understood clearly to understand these subjects. So first of all, let's go through the energy flow in engine. Now let's understand. You can see the diagrams here which describe the fuels. IP means the indicated power and the BP means the brake power. So we have the many losses in engine that is usually have in different heat engine. So like the IC engine is even not different than the other heat engine, and we have the certain losses. So let's consider that fuel is having 100% amount of energy. Let's consider 100% amount of energy that is being remain into the fuels. Like if the fuel is having 100% amount of energy, then we can get only half of that as an indicated power in IC engine. So almost 50% losses that is being taken into the considerations in exhaust gases during the cooling of the engine and during the radiations of the engine that is being occurs into the combustion chamber. So these are the major sources of losses in IC engine. Okay, basically indicated power is the one which is available into the engine cylinder. So the overall try of all the scientists and researcher is to enhance the indicated power as much as possible to reduce the losses. Since we can see the many crises of the availability of the conventional fuels, and all the peoples are trying to work hard to get it as more as possible, as much as possible of the indicated power. Then you can see the brake power. Now brake power is the one which is available at the outlet of the engine. So you can see the brake power is even less than indicated power, and that is because of the losses of due to the friction. Since all the mechanical component come into the contact with each other, you can see the rubbing and rolling processes into these the overall engine operating conditions. So due to that, certain amount of losses been takes place due to the frictions. So whatever the power that we actually get is the brake power of the engine, and that is almost very small as compared to the total energy available into the fuels. So let's say it's around 40 to 45% of the total energy available into the fuels. And these are the losses of the engine, such as exhaust loss, cooling loss, radiation loss, and the friction loss. Now let's go through the different terms that we use for the IC engine, and the first one is indicated thermal efficiency. Now indicated thermal efficiency is the ratio of indicated power to the energy of fuel per second. Now we have understood the indicated power which is available into the engine. Basically indicated power that is being produced by the cylinder into the engine, and the formula to calculate the indicated power is P I MEP, that is the mean effective pressure, into L into A into small n into small k divided by 60 into 1000, in which L is the length, A is the area, small n is the is equal to number of n into capital N into 2, and k it's a number of cylinder which is available into the engine. So basically this is how you can calculate the indicated power. Now energy of fuel per second can be calculated by the mass of fuel which is available into calorific value of fuels in kilojoule per kilogram. So if we have these two value, indicated power and energy of the fuel per second, we can easily calculate the indicated thermal efficiency, which is eta I thermal. Second one is a brake thermal efficiency. Now, brake thermal efficiency, almost the definitions are very small. There is only small parameter difference. So, basically, brake thermal efficiency is the ratio of brake power to the energy of fuel per second. Now, we know that the brake power, which is the power which is available at the crankshaft, that we have understood in the first slide. So, if we have the brake power and the energy of fuel per second, we can calculate the brake thermal efficiency, and the formula to calculate the brake power, which is equal to 2 pi nt divided by 60 into 1000, while energy of fuel per second can be calculated by the mass of fuel into the calorific value of fuel in kilojoule per kilogram. Then after, mechanical efficiency. Now, mechanical efficiency is the ratio of brake power to the indicated power. How much amount of the friction is can also be calculated with the help of indicated power and brake power. So, basically friction power is the difference between the indicated power and the brake power. Then after, volumetric efficiency, it's a breathing ability of the engine, how much amount of fresh air that engine can breathe in, that greatly depends on the volumetric efficiency, and it has to be as high as possible to enhance the overall performance of the engine. So, basically volumetric efficiency is the ratio of the actual volume flow rate of air into the intake system to the total volume displaced into the capital N divided by 2. So, let us say that all the different engines have the different volumetric efficiency, but the one which has the higher volumetric efficiency can provide the great amount of performance, and to enhance the volumetric efficiency, different modifications has been provided into the engine, such as supercharging of the engine, and here you can calculate the actual volume flow rate of air into the intake system by using the small m divided by rho, where small m is a mass flow rate in kilogram per second and rho is a density of air. So, this formula can be used to calculate the volumetric efficiency of the engine. Then mean effective pressure, basically the pressure, you can see during all 4 different strokes the pressure would remain different into the engine, into the cylinder. So, to calculate the mean effective pressure, we need to calculate the average pressure inside the cylinder. So, basically the average pressure inside the cylinder based on the calculated power output or the measured output is known as the mean effective pressure. So, even mean effective pressure can be classified. It has two different things, such as indicated mean effective pressure, and the second one is brake mean effective pressure. So, that is completely depends on the indicated power and the brake power. Then mean speed of piston. Mean speed of piston, again the average speed of the piston is known as the mean speed of pistons, and that can be calculated by capital V denoted by small p is equal to 2 into capital L into N, where uh, L is a length of stroke and N is a revolution per second. So, basically it remain in between 8 to 15 meter per second. It is in between 8 to 15 meter per second. Then the specific fuel consumptions. Now, we know that the fuel consumptions is also depends on the operating conditions of the engine. So, specific fuel consumptions can be calculated, or it is basically a ratio of the fuel consumed per unit time to the power. So, the unit for that is kilogram per kilowatt hours. Now, the specific fuel consumptions depends upon the power which is available into the engine, and it has also been categorized in two different things, BSFC, which is known as the brake specific fuel consumptions, and ISFC, which is known as the indicated specific fuel consumptions. And brake specific fuel consumption is basically inversely proportional to the thermal efficiency of the engine. Then we have the air fuel ratio. Since we know that the fuel which is been given into the cylinder, which is being supplied into the cylinder, is it is a mixture of air and fuels. So what could be the perfect mixture to get the maximum output? Now according to the study, according to the research, the chemically correct, or which is also known as the stoichiometric air fuel ratio, that is 15 gem 1. So 15 gem 1, which is known as the stoichiometric air fuel ratio, that is even different for like petrol engine and the diesel engine. So the amount of air which is required to complete the combustion of the fuels is greatly depends, or it has been studied thoroughly to provide the proper performance, to enhance the performance of the engine. Now the equivalence ratio, which is also an important term, which is denoted by 5, that is known as the actual air fuel ratio divided by stoichiometric air fuel ratio. The actual air fuel ratio, that is the amount of air and fuel which is being supplied into the engine instead of at that particular time, to the stoichiometric air fuel ratio, can be used to calculate the equivalence ratio. And the phi is equal to less than 1 if there is a lean mixture, and it could be greater than 1, phi could be greater than 1 if it is a rich mixture. So basically the air fuel ratio for SI engine, spark ignition engine or petrol engine, is remain in between 11 gem 1 to 20 gem 1, and for compression ignition engine or diesel engine, that would remain in between 18 gem 1 to 80 gem 1. So basically engine operate with different air fuel ratio in different conditions, such as like at initial condition when it has to develop the higher amount of power, engine use the rich mixture. Like during the cruising, engine use the like the mixture which is chemically correct, and like while braking or while stopping, engine use lean mixture. So it depends on what kind of condition it is, and the air fuel mixture is available into the engine depends on the availability of the power, requirement of the power of the engine. Then after, another important term, which is the calorific value. Now what is calorific value? Because like the fuel can be mapped with the help of its calorific value. So basically calorific value is the amount of thermal energy which is released per unit quantity of fuel. So all different fuels have a different calorific values, and we need a certain amount of the calorific value to get the optimum performance of the engine. And even calorific value can also be classified into different category, which is known as the HCV and LCV. When the water vapors remain present, uh, that is condensed after the combustions, is known as the higher calorific value, HCV. While the water vapor are not condensed after the combustion, then it is known as the lower calorific value. So when water vapor condense, you can see, you can optimize the combustions of the fuel, and you can get the maximum amount of energy out of the fuel. So yeah, these are the few different parameters that we have discussed, and I hope it is clear. And also to make sure that these need to be clear in your mind to understand these subjects thoroughly, because these terms been widely used in different chapters, and it is also been used to calculate the overall performance of the engine. Thank you very much.